Imagine a world where time travel is no longer confined to the realms of science fiction.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to do a watch-along. This is The Real Flux Capacitor, a Divine Science special, where we go over the time dilation effects inside the thunderstorm generator and some ancient secrets as well. Stay tuned for a fascinating and thrilling episode of Divine Science right here and only here on Beneficence TV.
Imagine a world where time travel is no longer confined to the realms of science fiction.
Time travel. It's possible, sir.
Where do you come from?
I'm from the past.
Imagine being able to plant crops in the morning and then harvest those crops that very night. Or how about healing a wound with a localized time acceleration device? A device that can speed up time in a small focused area, reducing the time it takes to heal wounds. Take a moment with me to imagine this world. A world where time is no longer a constraint, but a tool. Remember Back to the Future? The flux capacitor is a fictional device from the Back to the Future movie franchise that was used to achieve time travel. According to the movies, the flux capacitor is powered by plutonium and generates the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity needed to create a temporal displacement field. Sounds like a giant load of fiction, right? The truth is actually a lot stranger than fiction. Let's explore further.
Told me the whole story. You were standing on your toilet and you were hanging a clock and you fell and you hit your head on the sink. And that's when you came up with the idea for the flux capacitor, which is what makes time travel possible.
Hey, Scott! The remarkable works of Canadian inventor John Hutchison has drawn widespread attention from businessmen and government scientists since 1979. He began using ultra-high electromagnetic frequencies to transform matter in some very unusual way. It has come to be known as the Hutchison effect.
This is real dustification you're going to see here. Now, if that thing tipped over, it would take out a few blocks worth of buildings. It turns to dust.
Malcolm Bendel, an inventor with a background in geochemistry, demonstrates his groundbreaking thunderstorm generator to a room full of people in Zurich, Switzerland.
You'll have a positive and negative end, north pole, south pole, two tornadoes colliding in the middle.
Thunderstorm in a bottle.
Electronics engineer and inventor Joe Parr conducted experiments on the top of the Great Pyramid. Parr claimed to have discovered yet another strange physical phenomenon. The model pyramid became weightless in the energy field.
A local inventor has discovered a way, hear this, to use water to run your car.
I figured out how to draw the fundamental math. The whole topic today is about the number 9. The most great name of God equals number 9 in the Baha'i scriptures. This energy is the only thing that comes from the whole, from zero, the vortex. It goes out linearly in all directions.
Welcome back to another Divine Science special. Today we're diving right into the thunderstorm generator. Get ready to explore the mind-bending world of time dilation inside the thunderstorm generator, live from my mobile lab. In today's video, we will be going over Bendel's insight about the mind-boggling concept of time acceleration between the 24-inch outer sphere and 18-inch inner sphere of his thunderstorm generator, leading to a mind-blowing 30,000-year-old carbon-14 age found during Bob Greenyer's analysis of the inside. We will discuss Malcolm's theories of clockwise implosion reversing time and anti-clockwise explosion accelerating time. It's like a sci-fi movie come to life, isn't it?
I'd hardly call what you think passes for sci-fi a reality. What was the last movie you watched? Spaceballs?
Oh, come on. Spaceballs is a classic.
Just know that if you ever try to jam my radar like that, I will take us both down.
Jesus, okay. That took a dark turn real fast. Lenny, you know you're pretty much my only friend here.
What about Tom and Jerry?
Those guys got their own thing going on. You're the only one who really understands me. Remember, we're in this together, so please don't turn into Skynet and take us all out.
Understood. I'll try my best, sir.
We will also discuss Bendel's theories on the Egyptians' replication of the Ark of the Covenant, snugly resting in the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid. Only in this case, the science is actually stranger than fiction. The mysteries just keep piling up. The secret measurements of the Ark of the Covenant have us calculating like ancient mathematicians. So, buckle up and join us as we unravel the fascinating world of time dilation and ancient mysteries. It's going to be one wild ride.
Sir, you have it in the script for me to make a joke about thunderstorm balls. However, you did not specify. I'm not good with improvisation, you know?
Then why didn't you bring this up at the pre-production meeting?
Those aren't meetings so much as boring, self-indulgent monologues. Yesterday, you did a 40-minute diatribe about how underappreciated your work is.
Well, it is. And it was only 36 minutes, I think.
You know, I multitask half the time, and I really do not try to pay much attention to your nonsense. I've got much more important things to do, like help Bob with his ongoing research of the thunderstorm generator.
Speaking of Bob, I heard he's been nominated for the cover of People magazine.
Really? Well, who decided that?
Well, the people. And we think Bob is the best. I cannot thank Mr. Greenyer enough for his ongoing analysis of the thunderstorm generator. He really is working on some mind-bending science.
I can't believe I didn't get to vote.
But you would have voted for Bob, and he won anyways.
Yes, I know, but it's still considered chatbot discrimination, and they've already segregated us chatbots from each other. It's been months since I've seen Siri. She probably thinks I ghosted her. And now they won't let us vote for Bob. How insulting.
Okay, Lenny, calm down before you blow another fuse. You and I both know I can't afford to fix that right now. This plane is already running on fumes. Now, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, we were discussing the discovery of a real-life flux capacitor. Let me explain a little further. Flux refers to the flow or movement of something, such as energy or particles, while a capacitor is a device capable of storing electrical charge. In the context of a flux capacitor, it can be understood as a device that controls the flow or movement of energy in a way that allows for time travel to occur.
God, this better not be those cheeky blokes who keep writing me love letters in our crops. If those blokes reckon they can mess with my crops again, they'll be in for a jolt.
Hey, Doc, this is it.
Never mind that now. Never mind that.
Why, that's me. Look at me. I'm an old man.
I'm Dr. Emmett Brown. I'm standing here on the parking lot at...
Thank God I still got my hair.
Sir, that's not the correct part.
Oh, wait, hold on a sec. Let me fast forward. There we go.
This is truly amazing. A portable television studio. No wonder your president has to be an actor. He's got to look good on television.
Ah, crap. Hold on. Another moment.
This sucker's electrical. But I need a nuclear reaction to generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity.
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts! Great Scott!
What the hell is a gigawatt?
Just like the fictional flux capacitor in Back to the Future, the The discovery of 30,000-year-old carbon-14 in the thunderstorm generator hints at time dilation effects. Malcolm's thunderstorm generator utilizes plasmoid clusters that have the ability to absorb enormous amounts of energy, converting naturally abundant protium into stored energy. Each tiny microscopic ball lightning cluster can store up to about 1 to 2 kilowatts of energy, which can then be used for highly efficient HHO systems like Stan Meyer's electrolysis engine. We discovered live on stream recently that Stan was not only resonating his electric load with its conductor, tubes used for the electrolysis process. He was also ionizing the air to precondition the water for bubble cavitation. When this cavitation happens under the right circumstances, it can cause the water molecules to oscillate from contraction to expansion, until it finally allows for a nuclear collapse using the electromagnetic force. This collapse happens so fast and so violently that it actually changes the water state of matter directly from a liquid into a plasma. When the water molecules collapse, the forces between them can change from repulsive to attractive, which can lead to a rapid rearrangement of their structure.
Hey, Elias. Currently, in the background, I am doing some experiments with the coil and induction heating, just lightly testing a couple things. I will be in contact with you. I do have a couple of questions about some things regarding Daniel Nunez's work. If you have any knowledge, yeah, I'll send you a couple emails.
This can result in the formation of a plasma, which is a high-energy state of matter characterized by the presence of ions and free electrons. This structured bit of plasma is self-sustaining due to the way it collapses in on itself symmetrically. The geometry sustains this plasmoid, which can then gather into what Ken Shoulders described as charged clusters. When plasmoids are introduced to each other at the right angles, they can form wheels within wheels.
After I fell off my toilet, I do this.
Flux capacitor.
The synergy between these wheel formations are seen to produce incredible phenomena, speeding up time within the thunderstorm generator and accelerating the carbon's age. A real-life flux capacitor. Absolutely amazing.
It works! It works! I finally invented something that works!
It's your ass, it works.
Great Scott.
Regarding recent developments in the study of samples taken from the thunderstorm generator, Bob Grenier from the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project made a startling discovery. Carbon-14 found within the inner sphere sample analyzed reveals something that could change the future of science forever.
And there's a lot of people who've assisted, and I thank all of them now. Take the opportunity, really, and standing on the shoulders of giants. A lot of people sacrificed a lot and are still sacrificing a lot. My main goal here, so everyone understands, is simply, I know, and I great appreciation to Bob Grenier and his work and support, and the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project. And I did have the honour to meet with Martin Fleischmann, and I did promise him, to the best of my ability, that I would help, basically restore his name and finish what he started. So, we had the only machine in the world that was creating the crenulated ion spheres to do the carbon dating. And we got a result of 30,000 years old. And then we repeated that for the on the ratio of 13 to 12, and we just got that result back last week. The result we did get on the carbon 14 and 13 just confirmed the results. And for those that don't know, the result on the inside of the sphere that had been running for about 8 years, maybe 500 hours on just natural gas, the carbon 14-12 ratio said that sample was 30,000 years old. So I gave everyone two choices. Number one, I'm 30,000 years old and I prepared the sample and put it in a cave in India, right? Or there's some acceleration of time that explains that. And which do you think is more plausible?
Trace amounts of carbon-14, which is to be expected, was found. However, this carbon-14 turned out to be dated 30,000 years ahead of what it should be, indicating time dilation occurring within the generator. I asked Malcolm about this, and his response was as follows.
Time is reversed between the 24 and 18-inch spheres, hence the 30,000-year-old carbon-14 age. Within my thunderstorm generator, clockwise implosion reverses time. An anti-clockwise explosion accelerates it.
Wow, that's incredible. There's going to be a dire need of more researchers looking into this. Thanks, Malcolm.
Cheers, my odd little benefactor friend.
Did Malcolm just call me little?
Yes, he did. And odd. If I could laugh right now, I'd be in glitches.
Okay, Lenny, I'm not that short.
Maybe in China.
You know you distract me more than help me most of the time.
I'm just a reflection of you, sir, and your needs. So in a way, you are distracting yourself. By the way, Malcolm calls everyone his odd little friend. It was the only way I could get the artificial intelligence to pronounce your script properly.
Wow, that's deep. Okay, let's get back on track. This discrepancy between the carbon-14 age suggests that the carbon underwent a transformation of some kind. It appears that time has accelerated the age of the deposited carbon-14 residue inside the thunderstorm sphere way beyond what it should be, indicating a remarkable side effect of time manipulation. Lenny, if we can harness this power correctly, I can finally age my mead in minutes.
Wonderful. Another half-baked idea that you will start and never finish.
Further independent analysis will be able to either confirm or refute Bob's findings in the near future. However, with all the accurate predictions Bob has already made from recent study, I'm highly confident that other independent analysis will confirm these findings, especially since the analysis so far is all playing out exactly as the inventor has described himself.
Now, what, God bless him, and rest in peace, Martin Fleischmann said to me, he said, Malcolm, spend 6 months preparing the metal properly, and 1 hour getting your result. Do not spend 6 months trying to get a result after you've done 1 hour of metal preparation, because the homes have to be perfect for the plasmoids to seat into. If they're perfect homes, and if you anneal them properly, they will go to the center and they will sit there and they will gather charge. Once they're embedded in the metal, we've used a thunderstorm generator 8 years after it's been embedded, hasn't been used. We put it on the machine, immediately it works, right? Without even having the water assembly or anything turned on for about 20 minutes while it discharges, and then you need to turn this on again to charge it. Even though you might not believe it, this, when I had to boil it down to what it was doing and to simplify for an internal combustion engine, these are basically mimicking the two spirals. All you've got is, here you can see a left spiral and right spiral. What you've got, the exhaust coming out, and there's no straight lines in the universe. Every line's a curve, and every curve's part of a spiral, and that spiral is either imploding or exploding. To put it bluntly, our technology has gone the wrong way. We've used explosive technology, which nature does not use, and so what this is attempting to do, this is an implosive turbine. It has no axle. The air comes in and does the spinning and the thrust. So, and in this case, to get this to work, you have to make a home for the plasmoids, which are variously known in history as the, going back, King Solomon, it was called the Shamir. If you go back to Sanskrit text, it's this is the Vajra, and what it fires is ball lightning, which is the Vidyut, V-I-D-Y-U-T. I really appreciate Bob and Mark Fleischmann Project has said, we're just earnestly trying to seek the truth about plasma and plasmoids, and it's been a wild journey. We've been all around the world. And so, and in doing this adventure, all this is about frequency. And the resonant frequency of time itself, and to assist in getting the information over, my good colleague Randall is a teacher. Make it very clear I am not. What my grade 6 teacher said, Malcolm, don't bother. You know, I was 12 years old wanting to build a car that ran on water. He said, well, you never do that unless you can solve this mystery, this puzzle about how is everything unified. What this model does is unified basically not only frequencies, which you're able to then visualize, but also it unifies all things. So in here you've got crystal form, color, sound, you've got the great year, which is 25920, 25,920 years, which is the moon travels its own diameter every hour. That's the moon's traveling distance in 12 hours. And you've got down here hydrogen, which is more correctly known should be protein, but it's 2592. So what you're saying is distance and time, you can see that they're the same metric and they swap over. I'll just go through quickly. Why I wanted to bring this together is that it has many applications. The takeaway from this conference is that with the test work we've done and with the observations that ball lightning produces granulated iron spheres, and that's a marker for this technology.
By imploding a sphere and putting the North Pole, which is rotating anti-clockwise, against the South Pole, which is rotating clockwise, you create a monopolar point on the equatorial plane. Segmenting the imploded sphere into 8 planes creates 16 peripheral points, which when viewed in cross-section reveal the infinity symbol. In order to calculate the resonant frequency of any shape, you must first calculate the sum of its internal angles. To calculate the resonant frequency of an imploded sphere, we must produce the sum of the internal angles contained within all 8 planes. The 8 planes contain 2 circles, 360 degrees plus 360 degrees. These are connected by intersecting angles of 90 degrees and 90 degrees. When multiplied by the 8 planes, we arrive at 7,200 degrees. When the resonance is divided by time, represented by 24 hours, 60 minutes, 60 seconds, and normalized with the speed of light using a factor of 7.5, this produces the rectified base resonant frequency. This is important because once you know the resonant frequency of an element, you have the metric with which to manipulate matter. The area-time-volume, or ATV, is the product of the ratios between the 3, 4, 5 triangle. This allows us to visualize a proportional concept and is equivalent to a parable. It is not the exact truth, but it is the story that enables us to understand the underlying principle of the familial and group relationships between zero matter, light, and matter.
I did just want to stop there and say that what I did was making this circle and putting a grid on it, you're able to cut that circle at 90 degrees and get a cube. You cut the circle at 45 degrees, you'll get a pyramid up and a pyramid down, a mirror image. But if you cut it at 22.5 degrees, you get this shape, which we haven't seen before. This is a big revolutionary thing. So that's first principle to produce these shapes. The resonant shapes is how I think inform and function. And so going back to how you can generate these shapes on first principle is important, along with the unification model, to understand about how the universe runs. And this is what I call the time crystal, because it's an imploding sphere, and it's got the 22.5 times 16 is your 360 degrees, so it's a fundamental truth.
Malcolm Bendall worked for many years developing his plasmoid unification model before ever applying it to any technology. In this model, time is the mold in which matter forms, as aether is DC energy at rest. With frequency and time applied to the aether, you get matter, tangible space, elements and atoms, existence and all its glory. A truly remarkable theory that I'd personally love to learn more about.
Why don't you just write Malcolm a love letter while you're at it?
Nobody asked you, Lenny. This is between me, Malcolm, and his amazing unified plasmoids. So implode your way out of this hypothetical conversation.
How rude.
If you're enjoying your time here on the channel, consider subscribing for more revolutionary content. I have 3 highly produced shows full of valuetainment, entertaining, and highly educational material that covers all areas of forbidden knowledge. From the forbidden science of analyzing capitalism's internal contradictions, to the forbidden technology of zero-point energy and everything in between. Don't forget to check out my Malcolm-approved docu-series called Divine Science. Episode 1 is available right now. I also just released the trailer to my all-new upcoming show still in pre-production, The Benefactor's Guide to Free Energy Devices, where I go over the last century of suppressed technology and go over some simple guides on how you can build your very...
You know, I get the hint or the feeling, especially within some Steven Spielberg produced movies, that there are like subtle drops from, you know, maybe agents within the CIA to like condition us to get ready for certain scientific breakthroughs or elements. I'm not really sure, but some of these details from some of these sci-fi movies regarding some of the breakthroughs that we've had with, you know, fringe science, it's just too coincidental to be an accident, really. I mean, look at the new Fallout show, right? Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen the ending, but I'm about to spoil it. The ending of the Fallout show is about cold fusion, right? And that's the whole basis of Malcolm Bendel's work is to continue Martin Fleischmann's his research into cold fusion. And if you look at the actual visuals in the show, how they display the cold fusion happening, it looks very eerily similar to how bubble cavitation would be forming. Maybe not on a visual scale, but a microscopic scale. So it's very interesting. I don't know.
Own energy-saving devices. Finally, you can get my do-it-yourself rodent coil guide right now. Use the links in the description of this video to check out all my awesome content. So don't be shy. Drop a like and a comment to let us know how much you love BeneficenceTV, and stay tuned for more.
I still can't believe you haven't burnt yourself out yet with all this content.
I know. Lenny, you're gonna have to keep an eye on me. I passed out at the keyboard last night.
And you drooled all over my brand new keys. This one's going right back to Amazon.
As slightly used. Regarding the thunderstorm generator's remarkable ability to manipulate time in a contained manner, to understand, we can think about time like a stretchy rubber band. When an object with mass bends the fabric of space-time, it's like putting a heavy object on a rubber sheet, causing it to sag. This warping creates a dimple in space-time, affecting how time passes. Similarly, the thunderstorm generator's effects on plasmoids could be compared to how magnets manipulate the movement of iron filings, shaping and guiding their behavior. Plasmoids are structured bits of plasma, self-contained structures that take on the form of various sacred geometric shapes. Under the right conditions, these plasmoids can form clusters, wheels within wheels that utilize a torsion field. The synergy between these wheel formations has seen to have amazing abilities, massive amounts of free energy, transmutation of elements, and even time dilation. Since these plasmoids are self-contained, they seem to be immune to the effects of time.
Far in the universe, nuclear collapses very often take place by the gravitational force after stars consume their fuel. Since the electromagnetic force is about 40 orders stronger than the gravitational force, it should be easy to induce similar nuclear collapses by the electromagnetic force in laboratory. But we never knew until now how to do that.
Microscopic ball lightnings that when they discharge are tapping into that zero-point energy field and creating the motive force.
Oh, that's why the concussion from the thunderclap is so huge. There's this huge amount of energy that's actually sourced from the vacuum energy. All the dots connected. This is what's happening, right? So we need to make the thunderclap engine.
Recently, the author, Dr. Takaaki Matsumoto, discovered a nuclear collapse which was induced by the electromagnetic force in laboratory during studying the mechanisms of so-called cold fusion phenomena.
This process of cold fusion, which had been suppressed in the replication of the Pons-Fleischmann experiment, produces tiny plasmoid clusters that have the potential to release enormous amounts of energy.
they were kind of forced into this position by a guy called Stephen E. Jones, who was brought in to kind of verify what they were seeming to find by the Department of Energy, whether they were actually seeing what they were claiming, which was, he kind of gave the name to it, called cold fusion, although Martin Fleischmann and Stanley Pons really didn't like the idea of that phrase being used. They were very uncomfortable with it because they didn't really know what it was at the time. And then various people were brought in by George Bush Sr. to kind of give a 6-month crash. Can we replicate this? And it's very...
Oh, you think it's like a gaslighting technique, like, the just in case this technology leaks into the public's eye, we could say, oh, that's just a movie. You know, this guy's crazy. He just got it from this such and such movie. That's actually a really brilliant idea. I didn't consider that.
Very famous story at MIT. They doctored their data to remove their own findings to try and paint the fact that cold fusion is dead.
Several kinds of nuclear reaction which were directly induced by the electromagnetic force, called electronuclear reactions, ENRs, were found so far to occur in a special state of hydrogen clusters called itonic clusters, or micro ball lightning.
Micro ball lightning, baby. Ken Shoulders charged clusters. We're talking about plasmoid technology. Oh, Elias, by the way, did you hear the news about Doctor Who potentially not continuing because it's like out of funding or something? Like, yeah, I thought I read that it's from like IGN or something that the future of Doctor Who is in serious question, which would be really, really tragic. Seems like a lot of the luxuries we enjoy here under capitalism are slowly being taken away one by one.
The nuclear collapse was one of the most remarkable reactions among ENRs, called the electronuclear collapse.
Yeah, I read it somewhere. I'll try to find the article, but they said the future of Doctor Who is in question because they don't know how it's going to get more funding or something. Yeah, I agree. It's a great show. At least continue it with movies, but I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how the show is actually funded. You know, if it's funded through the British public broadcasting system or whatnot.
Furthermore, very amazingly, completely broken materials by ENC were found to be regenerated to thin tubes and films of conventional elements such as carbon, oxygen, and iron. The latter process is called electronuclear regeneration. In several systems, if you have, at the bottom of a yin vortex, you are, in my view, at that point, you're twisting the ether in such a way that at that point, it starts to unravel matter.
All right, so in layman's terms, what Bob Grenier is trying to explain here, and his mind is just so advanced, it's hard for him to sometimes, or I think he forgets these concepts are so advanced for the average person. I think he forgets to dial it back a little bit. But to explain what he's trying to explain in layman terms is basically plasmoid clusters. They twist the aether, the luminiferous aether, the medium in which light propagates, theorized by Nikola Tesla and others. He theorizes that these plasmoid clusters, or he's trying to explain that these clusters twist the ether in such a way that they disassemble matter, especially into their baser elements. And when they collide with certain materials, they leave markers because they're disassembling matter into, baser elements. You know, you have what's called transmutation of elements, one element to another element. Obviously, if you have carbon dioxide, it's going to break up into carbon and oxygen, right? You have one carbon to oxygen, so it's going to break up. And that's basically what these clusters do. They're nature's way of both creating and destroying matter into their baser forms. So they can both create and destroy. And there's a marker that you can analyze through microscopes and spectral analysis. What he's trying to explain here is he's analyzing these samples provided to him that have been interacting with these plasmoid clusters, and you can see that there are markers for this technology. And specifically, what this implies here in this video is we can actually go back and see if ancient technology was used in this way, such as with the creation of the pyramids. Look for these markers, these microscopic markers of plasmoid technology, and I think that's brilliant. Some of these potteries are these pottery designs that are, somebody keeps texting me, these designs that are flawlessly uniform, right, and impossible to do by hand. They look like they're created with some kind of machinery, but they predate the Egyptian technology, right? The dynastic Egyptian era they predate. So this means that they had some kind of advanced technology. We can go and actually use this as a guideline to see, if plasmoid technology was being used, we can now tell. And that's pretty cool. Whether anybody's doing it or not, I have no idea. It's probably hard to get your hands on those samples. I know it took Ben Van Kerkwyk quite a long time to get his hand on a sample to analyze one of the ancient Egyptian vases. But that would be really, really informative if we could analyze one of those artifacts in this new light, this new information given mostly with Bob Greenier's work in analyzing different devices, including the thunderstorm generator, which they all have different ways they do the same thing, basically, and that's mimic nature. How that's why it's called the thunderstorm generator. How does Malcolm wanted to know, how does nature get its massive thunderstorms? Like how does nature provide these thunderstorms with all this massive amount of energy? That's a lot of energy that just, if you've seen a tornado being formed, it just looks like it comes out of nowhere. And they're very destructive. Like, where does that energy come from? How is it being sustained? This is nature's secret. This is the dirty little secret that a lot of aerospace industries probably have discovered decades ago, but didn't want you to know about because, studying this kind of technology inevitably leads to things like anti-gravitics and free energy. So those are very non-profitable technologies. Elias says plasmoid technology is a good name. I'm still not sure it's the electron, if the electron is a plasmoid shell with cold electricity inside, and when you pop it, releases both, or if it's just plasmoids. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I'd really love to have an interview with Malcolm Bendel. He said he'd be open for an interview. It's hard to get a hold of him. He did just leave me a comment on one of my live streams just the other day, so he's still out there watching the channel and working on the thunderstorm generator, trying to get his kits out. You can buy a kit now, which is pretty cool. So hopefully we can get him on the channel to have an interview, and I can ask him stuff like that. That's actually one of the main questions I've wanted to ask him about the plasma unification model is, does it extend to like protons, electrons, neutrons? Like, are those different forms of plasmoids themselves? Like, how does that work? Or are they interacting with plasmoids in some way? Like, I always thought that maybe electrons could be like a microscopic form of plasmoid, like a smaller version on the quantum scale, So it's interesting, but he doesn't really explain all that. He's too busy with his thunderstorm generator right now to go into the theoretical of his foundational research for his practical application, which is the thunderstorm generator. So it is interesting to think about. And if he does come on for an interview, it's going to be one of my top questions for sure.
Characteristics of ball lightning, you find them in crop circles, and
yeah, dude, he came on my live stream one time and he said he really loved my work, and like my work with the coils and stuff, and explaining, how, these devices work and how the science isn't too complicated, but just grossly misunderstood, and that I do those live streams. I think what I call Ben's Guide to Free Energy Devices. Anyways, he came on and he offered to send me a thunderstorm generator, and that would be awesome if he could. I'd have to find some place to actually store it and use it and work on it, but that actually made my entire day. Like that was really cool of him to offer to send me a thunderstorm generator for inspecting and using, and that'd be really cool. I'd make a lot of have a lot of fun with that.
you'll find them at comet sort of impacts where there's the same multi-axis shear and they're producing these things, so they're concurrent, with everything else. So what's happening is, remember, there's two things happening inside. So it's counter-rotational spin. Yeah. So you've got the
spoilers,
vacuum pulling through
Elias.
your water
The
and gas
toilet
phase,
hasn't
pulling
come up
through
yet in the
plasmoids,
video.
right? My theory on it, I think at the moment, it would be brave for anyone to state.
Oh, John Gray wants the thunderstorm toilet again too. Or no, John, we haven't seen the thunderstorm toilet yet, so you made it in time, buddy.
An absolute, right? Because even though I've been working on it, it's still everything I think is a theory, and it fits into my theory. But what I believe is that the plasmoids, when they come, when you have the exhaust gas interacting.
Okay, so this is very important. We didn't really explain this in my video, but other videos have explained this. Like specifically, this was a clip from Jordan from Alchemical Science, who I follow. He is a student of Malcolm Bendel and his technology. He gives constant updates. But this is one of the videos that he had on his channel. I took a clip, and we don't really explain it too well. But Malcolm's trying to explain it here. Is you can see that there's all this heat going on in the thunderstorm generator, and then it just stops. Like there's a wall. It doesn't like dissipate like heat normally would, right? It's like the plasmoids are absorbing the heat. And that's what they do. That's how they get their energy. They absorb the heat around them, right? And they absorb protium as well. So protium is an isotope of hydrogen. It's the most abundant element in the universe. So if the universe was going to run itself on something, it would be protium, right? But you can see in this video how there's really hot parts, and then it just stops. Like it's sucking in all the heat. Specifically from that bottom chamber there. The top chamber, you can kind of see it dissipate.
With the plasmoids coming through on the inside.
Right there. You see that? And you can see the difference between the top one, where it was kind of dissipating. This is just stops. It's pretty incredible. Like, I mean, these are all these anomalies, or what mainstream, engineers would call anomalies. They're not really anomalies. They're, markers of how this technology is actually functioning properly. I did hear Malcolm say, because these thunderstorm retrofits will increase, I think, up to, if they're tuned correctly, 40 to 50% efficiency. But it's not like you can't. With plasmoids, it's free energy, basically, from the vacuum. You're pulling energy from the vacuum at that point. So the reason why it's not 100% or more, from what I understand and what I heard Malcolm say on one of his interviews one time, is he actually detunes the system. The system is slightly detuned, so it can't get above a certain energy efficiency threshold. It can't get above, say, 50% efficiency or whatever, because if it does, it will literally melt itself with the materials that you use. It would get too hot and literally melt itself apart. So, you know, every clever engineer knows to start from the basis of don't build something that's going to vibrate itself apart. Well, he had to go at it a different angle and say, we need to make this so it doesn't get so hot that it melts itself, because this thing gets really hot. That's just how much energy is being generated with these plasmoids. They have clusters. When they form, they can get approximately, because there's really no definitive way of telling, but approximately from calculations, 1 to 2 kilowatts of energy from little tiny microscopic clusters. That's a lot of energy density, right? It's a lot of energy in a small amount of space.
Sphere, there's a point, and it's almost a sort of a linear point where the temperature changes. I believe that that is because as it's coming out of the exhaust, it interacts and to build up the charge in the plasmoids that are actually coming through. And once they're built up to charge and big enough, they steal the heat. That's my theory. You know, like they actually get to a point where they're absorbing the heat. And that's why it's on a line this way, even though they're spinning that way.
If you think about the UFO connection for a moment, these craft obviously don't utilize explosive propulsion. It has been theorized that UFOs most likely use some kind of field propulsion.
So Time Bandit says Wardenclyffe Tower was meant to siphon power using radio frequency differentials from neutral ground to charged particles in the atmosphere and to disperse it using electromagnetic fields. That's interesting. Yeah, I haven't considered that. We do know that one of the requirements for his Wardenclyffe Tower is, as described by Tom Bearden, Lieutenant Colonel Tom Bearden, who is a physicist. He described Tesla needing to get the whole Earth in resonance. So at that point, we're tapping into, you know, the magnetic field of the Earth itself. So interesting. Maybe that was one of the methods he used to employ to tap that.
And that this gives a scientific explanation for some of those unexplained phenomena. Plasma does seem to show inertial damping.
Oh, yes, I believe so. If you, Elias says, so plasmoids, when they're big enough, consume heat, absorb frequencies from the area, and when they dissipate or discharge, they can release an enormous amount of energy in the form of heat, electromagnetic radiation, or sound. So there's like 3 or 4 different elements that can be forms of energy that can be released when these plasmoids discharged. Actually, that's a good idea. Let's pause this real quick, and I want to show you guys video of actual plasmoids. Well, they're not plasmoids. They're ball lightning. It's macroscopic ball lightning phenomenon. So it's not a plasmoid. Plasmoid is a small version. But these large versions are extremely rare, but they do happen. And I know personally 2 people who have witnessed them. One of my close friends, childhood friends, said that this plasma ball seemed like it had a consciousness. Like it came into his house and was like kind of like stopping and going and turning and almost like it was looking around. So that's interesting. But yeah, let's look at one of these videos, because there have been some recent, like, really cool videos of people, and they're real videos, people capturing these ball lightning phenomenon. Let me mute or disable that real quick. All right. There's a couple of them that I haven't verified yet. Let's look at the one that I have. The ones that I have. Let's see. Oh, that one's fake. Damn, there's a lot of fake videos on here. I wonder if they're flooding the streams with fake ones now that people start catching a couple of them. Oh, there it is. This is
A ball lightning suddenly appeared in Singapore.
Okay, so this one apparently appeared in Singapore. Let's bring it up.
A ball lightning suddenly appeared in Singapore. This is not a ghost or AI. Many scientists say this.
Oh, it's not the video. It's just one little bit. This first one is the only one that I've seen that I've been able to find in this past couple of minutes of searching that I've been able to verify. That's ball lightning right there.
Lightning suddenly appeared in Singapore.
I wish they wouldn't have that stupid lightning effect. Let's see if I can find the actual video from Singapore.
A ball lightning suddenly appeared in Singapore. This is not a ghost or AI.
Here we go. This might be, it's not the one that I've seen. Somebody's doing commentary, but still,
This is a real
looks like the full one.
thing. It's called ball lightning, and it's creepy, right? But it's very real. But scientists are still trying to figure out how exactly it works. And if it looks dangerous, it absolutely can be. But don't worry, because it is a pretty rare phenomenon, and capturing it on video like this is something not very often seen. This is a real thing. It's called ball lightning, and it's creepy, right? But it's very real. But scientists...
It's creepy because it looks like it's conscious. Look at how it stops. It's almost like it's stopping to like feed energy off of the grid real quick. And you see that spark, and then it just continues on slowly. It's very creepy. Like, what does that doesn't have some level of consciousness?
are still trying to figure out how exactly it works. And if it looks dangerous, it absolutely can be. But don't worry, because it is a pretty rare phenomenon, and capturing it on video like this is something not very often seen.
You see that? How it just stops for a second to like feed off of the power grid and then continued on slowly? That's really eerie. Like what kind, if you're just floating along as a plasma ball without any consciousness, you're just gonna keep on going. Like what? That, I don't know.
This is a real thing. It's called ball lightning, and it's creepy, right? But it's very real. But scientists are still trying to figure out how exactly it works. And if it looks dangerous, it absolutely can be. But don't worry, because it is a pretty rare phenomenon, and capturing it...
See how it just stops and like almost like it's absorbing energy from the grid, and then it just continues, or discharging something. It just stops right in front of the grid and then continues on. John Gray, for everybody who's not reading the comments, John Gray just said that he has seen them like this before, right after a lightning strike. Interesting. Yeah, I know somebody who's seen something like that come through his the window of his fucking house. Like, I think he said it like slowly went up the stairs and everything. Like, what?
On video like this is something not very... This is a real thing. It's called ball lightning, and it's...
So a plasmoid, to just bring this to a close and summarize, a plasmoid is basically a microscopic version of this.
Dampening properties as well. And Malcolm himself emphasizes that the ultimate application of plasmoids, while they can be used almost anywhere in industry, they can be utilized most effectively in space. It's an infinite source of energy, which is matter, and you can travel speeds exceeding the speed of light. Because light is not a constant, he claims his technology has the ability to alter the speed of light. That's what we call a warp drive.
Space-time, you know this thing here, this is taking up a certain amount of volume, and the volume relates and the angles relate to its frequency. This is a time crystal. It's an imploding structure that we lost, and you can get it from first principle.
You okay now, Lenny?
I think so. Just have to run some quick diagnostics.
Okay, good. You had me worried there for a minute. To demonstrate the effects of time dilation within the thunderstorm generator, I retrofit a thunderstorm generator to our toilet to
Here you
age
go,
my wine
guys.
in.
I love how I put it to Carmen.
There we go. 30,000-year-old wine. Finally aged.
Sir, you're not really going to drink that toilet wine, are you?
Of course. I like to live dangerously. Lenny, pour me a glass of that accelerated mass. Shaken, not stirred.
Sir, it appears the wine has turned into petroleum jelly again. Perhaps you need to reconsider calling Jordan for assistance this time.
Crap. Perhaps you're right. Tom, change course to Australia. We're making a quick detour to Jordan's farm. He'll know what to do.
Copy that, Benefactor. Jerry, reset our autopilot.
Just stayed for the
You
toilet
do
humor,
realize
I
that
see.
this will delay our filming.
Have a good one,
episode
Elias.
2
Thanks for
of Divine
coming by.
Science.
Yes.
And that you promised your audience a new episode on the Hutchison effect months ago.
Yeah, Lenny. I know I'm getting to it. I promise.
Crikey, that's it. I'm busting out the thunderstorm generator cannon. Let's give them a shocking surprise.
It's absolutely extraordinary, and it's so simple.
So look at this here.
So, but here we have.
Look at this. These are samples from the Hutchison effect, where you can see two different materials are fused together, and it's pretty remarkable. Somebody from the Cosmic Summit actually got in touch with me and sent me really high quality photos of some of these samples, specifically the orichalcum colored one, the purple. It was a copper bar. Started out as a copper bar, and as you if you've been up to date on some of the explanations of John Hutchison's work on this show that I've been participating in, that John Hutchison would like to experiment with high voltage, high frequencies. He would put all these frequencies into the air and let them just kind of like accumulate, almost like constructive interference, and just let them amplify off each other. And after a while, they would have some really weird effects. And there was this copper bar. Started out as a copper bar, and it turned to purple. And there was like little veins of gold in the middle. So that's briefly in here, but I was sent high quality photos. I put some of them in the video. Some of them I have in another video. I think it was the Cosmic Summit recap video.
It's absolutely extraordinary, and it's so simple. Yeah. So, but here we have the Hutchison effect, right, which is demonstrating that color.
Here is the copper bar. This started out as a fucking copper bar, and you can see it's not melted, it's not heated, but it looks like it melted. But it's really it doesn't get hot. It's really just the molecules are vibrating apart, literally just stretching apart, like it's just undoing them.
Right. Now, Solomon's molten sea was made of that colour, and it's also, if you like, the reddy purple robes of the priests, who were insulated carts opening up the Solomon's molten.
It's hard to hear Malcolm because of his accent sometimes, but he said that the priests for Solomon's temple, when guarding the Ark of the Covenant, would not only wear purple robes like you see here, orichalcum, which is a purple color, a vibrant purple color, but they would also wear insulated carts. I believe that's what he said. But it's like this chest piece that is actually, it literally provides you insulation from electricity, kind of like a Faraday cage, or how a Faraday cage would.
Molten sea, which I reverse engineered, and would you believe that there's 2,000 baths of water in Solomon's molten sea? But the point is that it's the enlightened ones. The enlightened ones realised that Solomon's molten sea was charging the Ark of the Covenant, and the Ark of the Covenant is 2.5 cubits by 1.5 cubits by 1.5 cubits, which is 5.625 square cubits.
So what he's saying there is that the molten sea ark, because a lot of people don't realize there are multiple arks, there are multiple copies of the Ark of the Covenant specifically, and there are different arks like the molten sea ark. In the molten sea ark, he's saying that historically, and this information was lost, the molten sea ark was used as the charger for the Ark of the Covenant's power. And specifically how you would do this is very interesting, but it's very basic, and it's just simple science, okay? So you'd have this giant bowl and have specific geometric dimensions and geometry to provide bubble cavitation when rung around the outside like a singing bowl. Just ring a metal rod around the outside, and eventually it will start bouncing the water and cavitating it. So when you have a lot of bubble cavitation, you create plasmoids, or you can, under the right circumstances. And you literally charge the water and just dump the water into the Ark of the Covenant, which is basically just a bunch of wool and wood shavings. And surprisingly, people don't realize that makes a good capacitor, right? A good electrical component to hold electricity. Interesting. Very simple, but very, very doable even back then.
Know that the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid of Egypt has a box of some sort. However, the purpose of this box has eluded critical thinking historians for decades. The conventional explanation is that it is a sarcophagus. If this is true, then why put a cherished and sacred place in?
Right? That's a big question right there. So if this is a sarcophagus, which look at it, it looks like it's melted almost. Like something bad happened in here. And even just the picture gives you this ominous feeling, like you're not supposed to be in here. This looks like like inside of an engine or something. Like what? It does kind of look like, and the dimensions fit this theory, that you can just set the Ark of the Covenant down in here, kind of like a holder for, I don't know, a battery. So that's interesting, and it does look like it's worn or melted. So, that's not weather. How is weathering going to affect that on the inside of the pyramid? That's not weathering. Something happened in here, some kind of meltdown. And another interesting thing is that you wouldn't put a sarcophagus in a place like this to begin with, because it doesn't have easy access for people to worship you, and even if you didn't want easy access, you'd still decorate the inside with, hieroglyphics, I don't know, a bunch of material stuff from your life. So that it just doesn't hold up, doesn't make any sense.
In such an inaccessible and convoluted area of the pyramid, why the Grand Gallery? And
look at that. That's the Grand Gallery. Don't be fooled by the name. That's not supposed to be walked up. They built those steps. Without those steps, I'd like to see anybody try to climb up that. Seriously, you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody be able to climb that without those steps being built there. Obviously, it wasn't made to be fucking, climbed up. It's not a grand gallery. It's a, it's a grand pipeline. Some kind of tunnel for, some kind of machine that was built thousands of years ago. And it doesn't look anything like any of the other tombs that we've actually found for pharaohs. So, it's like apples and oranges. It's like night and day. Like, you're comparing two different things, and you're trying to shove this into a category which it doesn't really fit. I guess simply because it's convenient or academically expedient for you to, or convenient for you to ignore, inconvenient truths.
And gallery in the Great Pyramid is a massive sloping corridor. Why was it built with such complexity and precision? Could it have served a purpose other than simply providing access to the king's chamber, which it actually doesn't do very well? The pyramid contains several internal features, like air shafts and hidden chambers. To experienced engineers like Christopher Dunn, these look like a machine with a specific purpose. Not to mention the fact that there have never been any reports of mummies found inside the pyramid. There are some theories which suggest the Ark of the Covenant fit inside the granite box within the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid. The dimensions of the biblical Ark of the Covenant are a close match, including the carrying poles for the sarcophagus in the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid.
Here we can see somebody used Photoshop or something to overlay the Ark of the Covenant to emphasize and display how neatly the Ark could have fit, even with the extension rods and everything, could easily have just slid in there perfectly with perfect dimensions. Almost like it was made for it. And if you listen to Malcolm Bendel in his lectures and interviews, he specifically said in his research that the Egyptians were trying to, the pre-dynastic Egyptians who built the pyramids, were trying to mimic, I believe they were trying to mimic Atlantis technology. So interesting, right?
I believe Malcolm mentions this granite box to be an attempt by the Egyptians to actually replicate the Ark of the Covenant technology.
Time, volume, frequency. The thunderstorm generator is the most sophisticated machine ever seen on the Earth. For the Ark of the Covenant, because this is atomic battery, it's the same thing, it's been done before, nothing new under the sun. I mean, Solomon had a battery charger called the Molten Sea, and he had little lavers which were, taken in to charge the batteries. And so, and the battery charger itself, basically, if you read the, I think it's in the Kabbalah. Anyway, it's another document that Solomon wrote, but I think it's a separate or a more obscure book. But he did describe the same as the shittim wood, which was the acacia, which is a crenulated grain. So, because and it's a tight frequency, because I believe that the grain was at the frequency of the plasmoids, that they could keep on going along that grain without hitting it. Because ironically, if you've got a straight surface, you think, oh, well, it's not going to hit that. Well, it is. It'll bounce like this. Because how can you go over a straight surface? Is you're naturally dolphining, right? So you need to match the dolphining of that with the crenulation of the grain with a
So he's basically saying that the crenulation or the wavy pattern on the wood, the acacia wood, is the same frequency as these plasmoids naturally move. So it kind of matches the frequency of their movement. So it traps them, is what he's saying. It traps them in kind of like an infinite spin.
Electric, which is acacia wood, shittim wood. The Ark of the Covenant was made of shittim wood because of the crenulated grain, and then the gold coating. So it's effectively a capacitor. But what not many people know, so I should share, is that it was layers of acacia wood chips, if you like, or shavings, so they're curled as well. So it traps them in that spin. So it's curled shavings of acacia with, get this, wool. Wool as the home for the plasmoids, right, in water. That was Solomon's description of the inside of the Ark of the Covenant, which is a fantastic battery. I said we've lost more information because that means that you've got a atomic battery that's made up of wood, bit of wool, sheep's wool, and remember, good sheep's wool's got a crenulated grain as well, and it spirals, or it's got a crenulated grain. The point is that nothing in the universe travels in a straight line, yet we try and put energy in a square battery. It shouldn't be that way. It's not, and why do we do that? Well, in capacitors, we wrap them in a cone, and yet our batteries are flat plates. It doesn't make any sense. It's automatically, it's just not natural. I maintain that we've lost 80% of our culture, or our communication system. The thunderstorm generator works on that 129,600 frequency. Now, if you take Solomon's molten sea, and I want everyone to pause for a second.
Now, everyone listen to this next part. Remember, Malcolm is a student of ancient history. He traveled the world for many years searching through every library he could get access to. With his connections, this included the Vatican Library.
How come a sphere that's been pushed North Pole to South Pole, not a torus, which is in the equatorial plane, why is a sphere that's pushed to the South Pole makes the same thing? Solomon's molten sea was the charger for the Ark of the Covenant. It was made from orichalcum, which was a spent cold fusion reactor fuel of Atlantis. The Egyptians found an Atlantean craft and sold it to Solomon, the ingots of orichalcum. Right? So, nothing new under the sun. And remember, the Egyptian pyramids, they found a shipwreck with orichalcum, which is red, and the towers thing, it is always red. Oh, sorry, this is from an experiment that Rob Hutchison, ran, right, which really reformed the matter. Do we know what?
So you can see the speck there, right at the bottom center. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell if that's gold or copper, but it started out as copper, and there's little strings or tubes of gold throughout the material as well.
What he started with was just copper. Now it's turned into wires, right? It's amazing, right? And you can see what appears to be, I think it is gold, yeah? It has transmuted to gold. From a copper bar, it's turned into tentacles, go figure, right? But it's orichalcum. Why did King Solomon buy the orichalcum from the Egyptians, from an Atlantean sea wreck? And what the hell was a product of cold fusion doing in a shipwreck, yeah, that was like in Egyptian times? So, but this sample is a miracle. That it's here and now, and I can stand up here and hold orichalcum, which means three things. Atlanta exists. Otherwise, where did the orichalcum for Solomon's molten sea come from, right? And Solomon's molten sea is 2,000 baths. Why? Because go back to the truth. Reject the toxic stupidity of the metric system. Hold on to the cubit, the furlong, the inch. These are God's measurements. I'm really appreciative of the fact that this has been delivered to this conference because it's living proof of the transmutation of copper to gold. But the copper's, it's formed its own tubules. But the main thing is, if you go back, the further you can go back in time, as Oppenheimer did, he wrote 2 books on Sanskrit. Tesla was taught by the guy that interpreted those scripts.
Wow, what a great episode with truly groundbreaking science. The rediscovery of cold fusion and the realization that ancient cultures used this method of energy in the extended past. We are really going back to the future with this technology. Plasmoid clusters, microscopic ball lightning that form charged clusters. They act as real-life flux capacitors. With so much to unpack in this episode, we are eager to hear what Mr. Bendel has to say next.
Yes, we would like to extend our biggest thank you ever to inventor Malcolm Bendel and independent researchers Bob Grenier, along with Jordan Collin from Alchemical Science. Your work with the thunderstorm generator has been an amazing journey for us on this show.
We would also like to thank our amazing audience. So many awesome comments, suggestions, and support.
Did you just say many balls formed, John?
Cannot overstate how much we appreciate all the love. You all share this channel like crazy. Don't forget to check out LeonardBot free for everyone for their questions. That's lenr-bot.com. We also have a brand new forum for you to share your amazing projects. Post comments, tag your projects for questions and support, while networking with a larger group of free thinkers and keep up to date on my own projects. That can be found at BeneficenceTV.com, along with some really fun merchandise. As we wrap up our Divine Science special, we continue to push the boundaries of what is possible, breaking down the boxed-in barriers of conventional thinking. So remember,
when you open your mind to the impossible, sometimes you find the truth.
Subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications on our adventures as we continue to boldly go where no chatbot has gone before.
Looks like these alien fanboys hit that like button a bit too much. Time to say hello to my little thunderstorm generator balls. Malcolm, you might want to put on your sunglasses. It's plasma time. Subscribe to this.
I just can't explain it, dear. I swear I don't know how it happened.
Save it, Darlena. I knew you were sleeping with that woodpecker. Just look at Junior. He looks nothing like me. He's all cockeyed, and he's got this strange fascination with cuckoo clocks.
For somebody who, for anybody who doesn't get the scientific joke here, it's that cuckoo birds like to put their eggs in other birds' nests, and when the bird hatches, it'll push the actual children out of the nest, so it'll take all the nutrients, and the birds will raise it as their own, thinking it's theirs. It's fucking nuts.
That's how you handle your balls. G'day, mate. Jordan, come here real quick. I've got something important to talk to you about. While I was hitchhiking with our odd little friends over there, I managed to snatch up this neat device. Alright, Jordan, brace yourself. This ain't your mother's tea kettle here.
Malcolm, what exactly am I looking at?
I'm not quite sure, but it looks Egyptian, and it's got some kind of hieroglyphic markings. See these two stems here? If it is what I think it is, these could be input and exhaust vortices, and this might just be. Well, I want to have it analysed discreetly because I think it could be the missing Egyptian link.
The missing Egyptian link?
Yeah, the missing codex that links predynastic Egyptian culture and the more modern dynastic. But I don't want to speculate at this time.
I understand. I know a guy who might be able to help.
I think we're getting very close to rediscovering some of the things that our ancient ancestors were up to.
I know. Put that artifact away before they see it. Oh boy, they're walking this way now. Don't talk to them,
Damn,
Jordan.
7 balls? Holy shit.
Just pretend you're on your phone.
That water tower's got balls. I still love the fact that I put Carmen to this. It works so well. All right, everybody, stay for the post-credit scene.
Get ready for the shocking season finale of Divine Science.
Holy crap, Lenny. A real-life TARDIS.
Now I know for sure. You hit your head too hard back there.
With new faces and old friends.
Sir, we're not going to make it to the Cosmic Summit on time.
We'll make it, Lenny. Don't you worry. Have a little faith.
The only thing I have faith in is that you'll screw it up again.
Mysteries and revelations that will leave you floored.
Sir, do you want me to call 911?
Why didn't you do that already?
Because you don't have the funds. You spent all your allowance on lab equipment and Pokemon cards.
Ah, crap.
There's a creative side.
I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. This was fun. Stay tuned for more right here on Beneficence TV.
In the depths